Hi, this is Robert with Pioneer Smokehouses, and today we're going to make some fall off the bone smoked turkey legs. So in one of the Facebook groups that I belong to, somebody was asking how to do that, and I'm like, brine all day, man. So anyway, I have a recipe here for that, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with the brine. So let's grab the recipe here, and I don't normally put a lot of the stuff on here, but I'm going to put the brine recipe up here for you to take a look at. And so we did a half batch today because rather than get a large pack of turkey legs and stuff, we just went with 2 small packages, and I can buy it at the local butcher shop that way. So first off is that I'm just going to read the regular recipe, and remember we did a half. So 1 gallon of water, and then 1 cup of either kosher salt or pickling salt. I prefer to use pickling salt. If you don't have that, any non-iodized salt can be put in a food processor, and you're just breaking the crystals in half or less, so that way it dissolves faster. 2 bay leaves and 15 crushed black peppercorns, or pink peppercorns too if you have those. 6 garlic cloves, and a yellow onion quartered up. Now I cut it in a little bit smaller pieces than that because, like I said, we're doing a smaller batch, so I still wanted it to go. So you can see the ingredients here. And what I did is first thing I like, my tip is to take a cup of hot water, or when you're using a whole cup of salt, twice as much water. So 2 cups of hot water, and mix the salt in with that before you mix anything else. And you can pop it back in the microwave a couple of times and stir it and make sure that it dissolves completely. You want to have it hot so it creates a super saturate. I think that's what they called it in science. And basically, it'll absorb most of those crystals. And I think I have a picture here of that. And then you can mix it into your bowl. So I mixed it into this bowl. So I added some water to the measuring cup, and then I poured it in here, put all the ingredients in, and then I added the rest of the water. So this is half gallon, which is 8 cups. So I was able to put it in, get it in here and cover it. So we actually only got about 7 cups of water in here, but we were able to completely cover this and get all the ingredients that we wanted. So for the rest of the recipe, you'll find that on the website, and I'm just going to set this over here for now. Then what we did was we created the brine, or the dry rub, I'm sorry. So then what we did was we created the dry rub. So you'll see the picture of the ingredients right here, and you've got a brown sugar base, and then I'll go ahead and read it to you. You've got a brown sugar base, and then you've got garlic, onion powder, kosher salt, black pepper, smoked paprika, dried oregano, dried thyme, ground ginger, and cayenne pepper. Now feel free to adjust any of these the way you want, and I always say that if you want to add like a Cajun flair or something like that, and you have a Cajun mix that has salt in it, remove the salt and add your mix. Most over-the-counter mixes have a lot of salt in them, so you got to be careful if you add any of those to your stuff. So here we have the bowl of mixed spices, and the brown sugar can be a little clumpy, so sometimes you might want to sift that, or just a quick mix, because usually brown sugar is considered a wet ingredient, so it'll break up pretty easily with the dries. So then we have all this stuff, and I like to not rinse it off, but if you're concerned about it being too salty, feel free to do that. I just like to make sure that we get it nice and dry. So first thing I do is I like to set it over here, shake it off a little bit. And so in the batch here, we're doing 3 turkey legs and 2 turkey thighs. And make sure there's no big chunks of that cracked peppercorn. One of those things, you bite on that and you're gonna know it. Not only might it hurt your teeth, but it'll definitely be pretty strong. So then we've got them all removed here just like that. And we just get the drips off of that last one. And then we'll go ahead and just set this to the side over here. So now we have the turkey, and hopefully you can see that okay, but let's just bring it up to you, and then you'll be able to get a good look. So they're just average sized young turkey legs and turkey thighs. And if you use turkey breasts, you can do that just fine, but you might want to adjust your wood for your smoking. So we're just going to take this and I'm going to hold it over top of the thighs, and then I'm just going to go ahead and rub that in, and starting with the thickest part, because we want to make sure that we get seasoning over that. You either want to hold it over a plate or something that you can recover the seasoning. I'm holding it over the thighs on purpose because I'm going to season those last. And so if the seasoning falls on them, no big deal. We'll go back across and do all these twice. And then that way we'll make sure that we don't miss anything. Another thing that you can do is you can put them in a large container with a lid and just shake them. I do that with my pork chops. So now I'm going to go back over to the thighs, and you can see that the thigh is mostly covered. I just put a little bit on there, but it really didn't need a lot. And so then we're just going to sprinkle a little bit on the back side. I'm going to make sure that we get it good. Another thing that you can do is put it in a leftover shaker, and I do this with my all-purpose mix all the time, is that when I have a larger shaker left over from something like garlic or oregano or something like that, I'll rinse it out really good, and then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and use the shaker to dispense the stuff, because it just makes it really convenient. And we are just about there. Look at that, and this is gone. This was a half batch, so the recipe on the website is a whole batch, and if you're gonna make a few pieces, you might wanna consider that. So we're using the Spice Hunter. I don't know if you can see those over in the corner, but they're sitting here. That's our primary spice. And then we're just gonna leave that like this for a minute, and it should be fine. We don't want to rest these more than 15 minutes. It's not good with chicken or fish products to rest them for a long time. With pork, I'm a little less concerned about it, and with beef, usually I'll let them rest out on the counter to come up to room temperature, you know, up to 30 minutes. So we'll go ahead and we'll run outside. I started the smoker a minute ago, so it should be ready to go. We're outside and we've got the smoker going really good. Today for this recipe we're using the pellet smoker, and the main reason we're doing that is mostly for convenience. We want to get a lot of good flavor in, and so I have a solution for that. That way we won't have to fight with anything, and the pellet smoker will just run completely automatically. So we've set it at 225 and currently it's running at about 230, and then I just put in enough pellets just to get it to run. So we wanted it to get preheated and everything, and then we can kind of go from there. So when you do this, you don't want any pellets left over in your pellet smokers. That's just, when you're outside and you leave your equipment outside, it's just a recipe for disaster. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get this stuff started. So grill mat, always use grill mats. I could have used the larger one, and I'm gonna have to pay more attention next time. But with this amount of food, I don't think it's gonna be a problem. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the thighs, and I know this is not a thigh recipe, but we're going to put the thighs down here on this side. It seems to be just a little hotter. And then we'll put the turkey's legs in there. We'll go every other, one facing that way and one facing this way. And I think I'm going to move this one down here because it's a little hotter towards the middle there. And then I'll just push it in a little bit, get this stuff just a little centered. Now, it's going to be fine like that, and it's just going to cook right up, no problem. But we want to add a little extra flavor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this. So this is just your standard pellet tube. The same flavor of pellets in here that's in there. Now this is probably about 4 hours worth of pellets, maybe a little longer. And then I have a piece of metal in here to keep the thing tilted up just a little bit. I set it in there flat on the corner. And then once I close it, it's going to put smoke completely all over it. So we'll go ahead and do that, and then you'll be able to see that. So you can see the extra smoke coming out here, and I wouldn't recommend this on a Traeger, but if we were using a regular offset, I would say that would be a really good opportunity for a seal. If you added a chimney stack to a Traeger, then that would change the whole thing, because then you would be able to get that. And as much as everybody, and including the manufacturer, likes to put one on this side, I like it on this side, even though it's over that way, so it creates a reverse flow, gets you good convection. So then we're going to take a look in here. So normally, because turkey legs are a strong dark meat, we don't mind using a strong pellet like a hickory or a mesquite. I would stay to hickory, but mesquite is fine too, especially if you like it even stronger. But today we have pecan. Pecan is just my favorite all around, so I have no hesitation using it for anything, including turkey. It's a little bit sweeter, but we're adding extra, so we're still going to get a really good smoke flavor. Now I put about 4 hours worth of pellets, maybe 5 hours worth in there, and I keep a couple of blocks in on the side, or you could use some 2x4s that are cut at an angle to make sure that it goes down at an angle into the hopper. And when we get closer to the end, I'll see if I can get you a picture of that, so that way you'll be able to see it. Now that it's full, that won't really help you much. But I will want to check that in a couple of hours. So, just to go back for a second, the brining process was 6 hours. You need 6 hours to complete osmosis. What happens is salt sucks out all the water, all the juices inside, and then the process reverses and the water and the liquids with the flavoring go back into the turkey. So that way the salt is it causes a balance. And it takes about 6 hours on a piece of meat this size for that process to complete. If you were using a whole turkey, I would recommend that you go much longer. I would say probably 10 hours. So overnight is a really good time for your Thanksgiving turkey. And then something else, when we shut down a lot of stuff and we leave it outside for the winter, what happens is you'll get a little bit of mold, and the Traegers are really bad about that. So it'll mold around the edges where there's moisture left over. And so apple cider vinegar, this right here is my go-to for when I'm cleaning. I put it on the paper towels and then I wipe everything down, and then I start the grill, and once it's burning, then I just spray water on it. Now, you can put this inside of this, and I would just mix it down about half and half and use it and just spray it right on there. That's fine. I totally do that for the top of my vertical cabinet smokers, because I don't want anything on the top falling on my food. And same thing with the lid here. I made sure that the lid was really clean, because I don't want anything falling down on my food. If it's on the side walls, as long as it's not moldy or anything like that, it's just flavor as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, so now we have 5 hours for this about. They're a little on the small side, so it could be as short as 4 hours, but we will be checking the temperature on these, and we're aiming for a finish temperature of 165. If turkey legs and thighs go over that, they'll still be just fine. If you shoot past it on a turkey breast, you will have extremely dry meat. So if you're doing turkey breast, you want to be really careful on the temperature. On turkey thighs, a little bit won't hurt you. We will be back in a few minutes. For you, it'll be a couple of seconds. For me, it'll be hours. So we're back, and I've flipped them over and taken the temperature, and we're good to go. I went ahead and I lowered it down to 180 a couple of minutes ago, but just so that way I could slow the cooking process down. And first thing I want to do is I'm going to open this up, and we're going to take a look here. So this is the pellet smoke tube, and it's all burned out. So all those pellets got used up, and they're all just nothing but ashes. So we got our pieces in here, and I'm going to take a little picture here of the chart of the pellet hopper here, so that way you can see. So if you take a look at this picture here, you'll see that there's a couple of bricks in there and then a piece of wood, and that is to make sure that the pellets go straight down towards the auger. I would say that a better idea would be to custom fit a 2x4 that's cut at an angle, and then that way you'll get the same effect and you'll have more volume, and it'll actually work even more like a funnel. So anyway, so this is my thermometer, and it's a little Thermal Pro, and you'll see the link in the description below. I like these cheap little thermometers. This is my third one, and I honestly just broke the other one a couple of weeks ago, and I pulled it out. I don't know why I did that, but it broke right there. But the thermometer still works just fine, so I'll probably give it away to somebody. But as far as these things, are really cheap. They work really good. I had the last one for a couple of years, and like I said, it still works. So I'm just going to put that in there. And I'll go ahead and snap a picture of that. So you see that picture right there, and I'm not right down the center, so the temperature is pretty close there. But after it rests, it'll be perfect. And when I pulled it out, the juices run completely clear, so we're fine there. So this is the last one here, and it's the smallest one, so we're going to go ahead and cut into that. So I want you to get a good close-up look of this. I'm going to tilt it just a little bit so that way you can see that. Pull that off, nice and soft. Go ahead and take a bite. That tastes really, really good. And this is just a little hotter. It's like 170 degrees in here, so it's just a little cooked past where I wanted it. This is the smallest piece, so the other ones are probably going to be really close. And actually the salt level, because one of the things you have to be concerned about with brine is over salting, and the salt level is perfect. I'm really sensitive to that. So if you're more sensitive than me, you might want to lighten the salt on the rub, not in the brine. You need that salt in the brine. So anyway, we're good to go here. And so I hope you enjoyed this video. And remember, if you want to add additional flavor to your turkey legs, another way is to either use an injection or a marinade. If you use a marinade, you want to leave it in overnight, so a good 8 hours minimum. And also something else, if you want a more traditional turkey flavor, add some poultry seasoning to it. It has that sagey flavor that reminds me of Thanksgiving. So I hope you enjoyed. There is an article for this recipe directly below, and then the links for all the products that I use below that, and they are affiliate links, so if you use them, I will get compensated, and thank you. And if you see anything that you like in the video, like the video and subscribe if you want. Thanks a lot for watching.